This is the third session in our series. So for those who didn't know about how this goes, every quarter I deliver 3 sessions, 1 session per month. The first month in each quarter, I deliver a session with the title Project Management Fundamentals. The second month meets the second session, which is Project Management in Action. And the third month in each quarter is Agile Project Management. So this session should have been delivered last month in June, but due to some holidays in Egypt and some mismatching in calendars, it was delayed till today, early in July. But this will not be affecting our schedules in terms of having another session for project management fundamentals in July, since July is the first month in this quarter. So I will be delivering another session late in July. If you didn't attend any of the previous sessions, this is not an issue at all. There is no dependency between the sessions. In the first session, we discussed the fundamentals. What is a project? What is project management? What is the hierarchy or career progress you will expect in this career? We discuss also the skills you need in this career and stuff related to the basics of project management lifecycle. And then in the second session in project management and action, we dig deeper in the daily actions or daily activities you take in the project management career. And now we're dedicating this session to agile project management. We'll be talking about what is agility and how we integrate this in delivery or project management. We will discuss also the project management, the agile delivery manifesto or agile manifesto. It's the principles, it's values and stuff related to this topic. Since you already know me, I will not introduce myself much here. I will just give myself a minute. I'm a project manager here in Voice Egypt, working with Vodafone UK. My title is Technical Delivery Project Manager. This combines project management and product management somehow. I've been in the training field since 2015. I deliver trainings with universities, with institutions and companies. And I also have 25 recorded courses on different platforms, 10 platforms for online courses. The most popular one would be Coursera for sure. So these are some logos of the clients or the major projects I worked with in Egypt and the United Kingdom and United Arab Emirates and others. So to move forward, I will be talking about agility. Anyone here knows about the agility, and if you are working already with agile project management in your current roles? Anyone would like to share their experience with this? What do you think? Do you have any experience with project management, agile project management?
For me, not.
Okay. Do you anybody else? Do you get involved with titles like agile practitioner, scrum master, product owner? Do you interface with these people at all?
I took the certificate of Safe Agile Practitioner, but I didn't work as a member of Agile team yet, as my project is still waterfall.
Perfect. This is a very good step. This is an initial step to learn about agility. So you will find some overlapping knowledge about what you studied in Safe Agilist and what we will be talking about today. However, I try somehow to relate this to our day-to-day activities, so it will be related to hands-on experience a little. I hope this would be an addition to you. Okay, it seems the rest of the team didn't interface with agility before, and this is something good for me. I would like to introduce you to this and be the first one to take you to the first steps in this field. So let's get started right away. So Agile project management, it is mainly related to the way of managing the project. So we have two ways of managing the projects, or two approaches, or two methodologies, two main umbrellas. The first one is the waterfall, and the second one is agility or agile delivery. Waterfall, from its name, it's like the waterfall. One step leads to the second, leads to the third, and we can't get back. The waterfall is always going downward. So we start by requirements gathering for whatever project we're starting. So if we are building a new platform, we ask the client, or we ask the team that requested this platform from us, what do you need in this platform? And we sit with them for a couple of meetings, or hold some workshops to gather these requirements. After we finish this, we don't get back to any new requirements. This is what we agreed upon. This is the contract. If you will change anything, you need to pay more, or you need to change the contract, or any stuff you need to change to get back to the beginning of the project. After we collect the requirements, we start the design and planning phase, and then we start the implementation for what we planned. We make some testing, and then deployment. After we test it in the testing environment, we deploy this in the live environment. And if this includes, or the deal includes, any maintenance, so we maintain the session, or the platform, or the solution, whatever we are delivering, we make some maintenance for this. But in reality, this is not very helpful, because requirements change and life happens. New business requirements, new changes in policies, in regulations, in economy, in business. A lot of stuff takes time and makes their changes. So if we are building this platform, for example, in 18 months, in a year and a half, a lot can happen in this 18 months. So what we do here, we start by planning, or gathering the requirements for the first couple of weeks, like 2 weeks, or maximum 8 weeks. And we start planning for these 8 weeks, and then we implement for this 8 weeks only, and testing and deployment for this portion, for this shippable chunk, or shippable part of the project. And then after we finish this, we can reiterate on this. So it is like loops. We go in loops multiple times. So the first loop, we plan, design, develop, test, deploy, and review, and then launch this part, this very specific part that we developed during this small period. And then we start another iteration, and then another iteration. So this is what we mean by agile management or agile management. It can be pronounced both ways, agile or agile. If we can agree on a small or simple definition for this, we can agree on this. It is an iterative, incremental, time-boxed approach in management. We will be commenting on these words: iterative, incremental, time-boxed, and approach. So we'll start by the first one. What do we mean by iterative? What do you expect? What is the first impression you got when you saw this, and that the agile management is related to being iterative or iterative? What do you expect? What are your thoughts, initial thoughts about this? I'm not asking for the right answers. Anyone can just share with us their initial thoughts about this.
I think that means, as you mentioned before, that iterative means that we suggest to divide the whole project into smaller pieces, and each piece should be gather the requirements, developed, tested, deployed all the things on its own on a small period of time, like iteration. So when this iteration finished, we start a new iteration, and so on.
Okay, and this is a very nice explanation for iterative. Thank you, Nurhan. Anyone would like to add something to this?
Yes, I think it's like going in loops. This is what I have in mind for being iterative, to go in the continuous loops.
For me
And
as
this
well,
is something
something
positive?
which repeats.
Repeats. Yeah,
Yeah.
Daniel. So I just want to make sure this is something positive or negative, repeating or continuous loops.
In this case, positive.
Yeah, it should be. We're coming to decision to say it is positive anyway. Yeah.
I think
Okay.
it's like more like the sprints. They are repeated as well. So we have to have those kinds of meetings planned previously, and we have them planned to previous appointments. Sorry, to specific appointments. So we are repeating the same sprints, not the same topics to be discussed in the sprints, but we are repeating the process.
Yeah, very good. So the next item I was going to talk about is calling the sprint an iteration. So if you hear about some teams working in sprints, so they are working in iterations. As you mentioned, iteration is trying something, making an experiment, making something to agree on the approach to make sure that we are following the right plan. So the iterations, these are the loops we showed a little in the previous slide. So each one of these are iteration. This is an iteration, iteration, iteration. So what happens in these iterations, we make some small amendments or some new features or some new additions to the project. After we make this addition, we call it an increment. So incremental here means like the pieces of a puzzle. When you put them in sequence or you get them together, you can see the full image or the full picture. But each piece of them alone cannot show you the full picture. So this is the concept of iteration and incremental. But to get this in a better sense, why do we use these small iterations or these time boxed with time limit? We use this because we are living now in a situation or a status called VUCA. Have you heard about VUCA before? VUCA? Anyone saw VUCA or heard about VUCA before?
Not me.
Me neither.
Okay. Seems no one came across this. It's an interesting acronym or an interesting abbreviation used to describe the business situation we're living now, we're having now after COVID especially. So VUCA is the initials of 4 words describing our business situation. The first item is, or the first term here is volatility. The situations are volatile. We can't expect what is coming next. If we have some regulations today, we are not sure that these regulations will last for tomorrow or for the next month or for the next year. So this creates uncertainty. We're not certain about any decision. Now the relationship between this country and that country is good. Tomorrow it can be bad. The CEO can change and the new CEO can put new policies. The top management of the company can sell parts of the company or can merge with another company. They can decide to make some cost reduction. They can decide on making some expansion in some other countries. And these all aspects are very complex because we have a lot of variables at the same time. If we changed one, it can affect the other one, which will make some impact on another one. So the impact assessment between the different variables is very complex. So this leaves us in an ambiguity or ambiguous situation. You can see a lot ahead of you. Before COVID-19 and all the situations we're living now or the consequences of these actions, when we used to talk about strategic management, we used to say a strategy is for at least 5 or 7 years. When you put a strategic plan for your business or for your department or for your team, but this is not valid anymore. The maximum you can plan for is 3 years, and you will not be planning for this in all details. You just put the headlines, and then you plan for 1 year in details, and you make a comprehensive plan for this. You can't see more than this. So we plan for a smaller period in details. The whole picture or the whole image of the business is not very visible, and we just put the strategic objectives or the main items we would like to reach by then. But as the time progresses, we can revisit this. If you are familiar with the game Red Alert, so I'm not sure if anyone is familiar with this now, but it used to be a game, a strategic game where
I
you
am.
have you yeah. I guess some people still play it till now. So it's like this, as we can see. You start by a black screen, and then you start moving your soldiers around to explore the area around you. Maybe there is an enemy next to you. Maybe there is a mine or a place where you can get some gold or some minerals or something to benefit you in this war. So we start in Agile with the same mentality as this game. When we start, we're not sure of everything around us. Sometimes we start by iteration 0 or sprint 0. In this iteration, we try to understand the requirements from the client. We try to understand how the team dynamics should go. We try to familiarize ourselves with the technology we're going to use. So there are a lot of stuff at stake, and a lot of variables we need to take care of. So in this case, this is the volatility, this is the ambiguity, this is the uncertainty we're exploring. So we try to explore a little bit small iterations. We don't work on everything at the same time. If anyone attended the previous sessions, we were talking about the work breakdown structure, WBS. Work breakdown structure makes the whole scope, the big scope, in small chunks, can be assigned to different teams or different personnel, and each one of them is an expert in this field, and then we can follow up regularly on this. So we try to do this also in the agile management. And that gets us to the second part of the definition, which is incremental. Incremental, as we said, it's like pieces of a puzzle. But what we mean here by incremental is that we don't have to build the whole building at once. We just build the first floor, and then the second, and then the third. And after a couple of months, we're ready with the whole building. If you are trying to build an e-commerce website, for example, we don't have to be Amazon from day one. We can just start by exploring and validating the requirements. For example, you would like to sell some clothes. It will be a fashion brand opening their e-commerce platform. They need first to validate if people would be okay to buy blouses or shirts online. Some people prefer to go and touch the clothes and make sure it is cotton or it is something that will not make them irritated when they wear it. Some people are not sure of their sizes, so they want to go to the shop and make sure it fits. So the first thing you need to make sure of or to validate in this project is that, is there a demand for this? Will people accept it? Is it desirable? So you can test this by a landing page and say this is coming soon, for example, and check the traffic for this page. If you found a good traffic or good visits to this website, okay, we can go further and put all the items you have in the same page, and people can scroll down. They can see pants, they can see blouses, they can see shorts, they can see socks, and everything in the same page. You found there is still traffic. Okay, let's make search bar. When we add the search bar feature, you can search for whatever item you'd like to buy. still we're growing and there is business growth. Okay, we can add like an advanced search bar where you can add the color of the blouse, the size, the range of price for this item. If you need a certain brand, advanced search. People used to check the website and then go to you on WhatsApp to order and make the payment through any payment transfer app. You can integrate to a payment gateway on the website. You can add features ongoing. So we start by building a small item, and this small item can be shippable. This is the essence of agility. We make shippable chunks. Shippable, it can be shipped, it can be delivered, it can be relied on, it is reliable. We can work with this and stop at this time if we like. So it is not something that we cannot depend on. No, this is something that can generate money or can make the feature you need. And then the next step is that we build something bigger. We build something better and better and better till we reach the best version we would like to reach. So sometimes we call this MVP, minimum viable product. It is minimum, but it is viable. Viable, it means it can live, it can continue. So we don't make something that is not functional. We build something functional and we deliver this to the client or the end user. And during this, we're making the iterations. We're learning more. So we're learning by going forward. We're learning more about the customer behavior. We're learning more about the client requests. We're learning more about the business requirements. Because sometimes you get a client or you get a user who are not aware of what they need. How come a client is not aware of what they need? So the client is not aware of the technicalities you can provide them with. They are aware of the business need. But for you to understand their business need while you are coming from a technical background or from non-specialized background in their business, you need to talk to them. You need to make like a prototype or the first iteration to make sure you understand what they need to transfer their business requirements into technical requirements and deliver these technical requirements to them. So they tell you, okay, we can accept this 30% only. This is the 30% acceptance we can offer you in this version or in this iteration. In the second iteration, you try to edit and get the feedback you receive from them and apply it. And then you submit the deliverable. They say, okay, this is 50% accepted, but we need to edit 1, 2, 3. So you go and edit this. So next time we accept this 80%. These are the iterations. And each iteration, after a couple of iterations, we can make an increment or make something we can deliver to the client or the end users and make money out of this. So this is the meaning of incremental. If you have any question at any time, please stop me. You can raise hand. You can open your mic and shout out whatever question you have. So don't wait till I ask if there are any questions. Let's get the questions at the same topic we're discussing, and we will not delay them so that no one can forget the question or something. So the next item is the time box.
Excuse me, Muhammad.
Yes, go ahead.
I would like to go back to the previous part you mentioned about learning while we are going forward. Would you repeat what are the things we are learn when we go forward?
Perfect. So when we go forward in the presentation itself, we will find one of the main terminologies or the main principles when we think agile. There is something called fail fast. Fail fast, this is something weird. We're coming here to succeed. Why to say fail fast? So failing fast in agile means that we will have to fail at some point. We will have to fail sometimes before we make the success. We cannot make the success from the first iteration or from the beginning. So if you are to be or if you are to fail 10 times, for example, before you reach the success in the 11th time, would you like to fail these 10 times in 10 years or in 10 months? Make the iterations very quickly to fail in 10 months instead of 10 years, so that after you try the first method and doesn't work, the second, the third, till you reach the 10th method, you tested all of these methods and you knew that they are failing, or they don't give you the right deliverables. So now you are aware that the next iteration or the next method can be better. So you learn by going forward, by trying new methodologies, trying new technologies, trying new communication channels with the client to understand what they mean. If you are sitting with them in a meeting and you don't capture all the requirements in the same meeting, so can we have this meeting in another place or another way? Can we communicate in writing? Should I document after the call? I document the actions. So you learn by going forward. You learn about the customer, you learn about the technology, you learn about the business, you learn about everything around you, and you even learn about your team, the team dynamics and how they work together. So this is learning by going forward, or fail fast. And also Basma wrote fail fast to learn faster. Thank you. Okay. And to fail fast and to learn fast, we have the time box. Time box means that we set the right deadline. I wouldn't say the tight deadline. It is the right deadline. What do we mean by the right deadline here? It is referring to something called Parkinson's law and student syndrome. Students, they know the date of their midterms from the beginning of the midterm. From the beginning of the term, they know the dates for the midterm exam and the final exam. However, they don't start studying till before the exam by a couple of weeks or something. Some people study just before the exam by 2 days or a couple of days only. So this is what happened for everybody, not just the students. If you have a deadline, and this deadline is a little bit far away from now, so you don't start working on the task right away. You delay the task. Agile promotes that we put the right deadline for everything. And this is also related to something called Parkinson's law. We can see this visual to understand better what is the Parkinson's law. If you are having a deadline, you tend to work towards the deadline. But if the deadline is away, so you can work very little effort or puts very little effort in this action, and then before the deadline you can make the most of the work. For example, if you're having a task for your team, and you know this task will take 8 hours of working. If you told them, okay, I will, this is the beginning of the day, I will get you the result or the outcome of this item or this action or this task tomorrow midday. So you give them like 8 hours working today, and tomorrow like 2 or 3 hours tomorrow to account for any breaks or anything. So this is the right deadline for this task. They will finish the task today and they will submit it tomorrow. Imagine with me now that you told them, I will get this task from you. I need you to submit it by the end of the week. So you give them 5 days instead of one day. Will they submit it tomorrow, or will they finish it in one day? They will not. They might work for 1 hour today, half an hour tomorrow, 2 hours the day after tomorrow, and then before the deadline or before the day of the deadline, they can dedicate 5 hours to finish this task. So if you know the deadline and you know the right estimate for the efforts needed for a task, put the right deadline for this. This pushes people to do their best. This makes people, all of them, they have accountability for the outcome. And if there is some resources or some team members who are lazy, you can spot the lazy people in the process in this way. So this is about agility. This is being flexible. This is being resilient. You work for the deadline, or you work towards the deadline. Make use of this. So this is the time box in agility, because in waterfall we tend to have deadline, yes, but for the whole milestone, for the whole project, for the whole work package, but not for a specific actions sometimes. So this is the part in agility. It is time boxed, and we try to put the right deadlines for each action. Lastly is that agility is a mindset. It's an approach. It's a philosophy. It is not a framework. Agility means to think agile. It's how you think, not how you work. So agility is not a framework where you can check some, you can take some check boxes and then, okay, I finished these actions, so I'm working agile now. No. What we're talking about now is being aware that there are changes all the time, and you can respond to these changes and make use of these changes. Business requirements are dynamic. Clients' requirements are changing over time. The client might see a competitor doing something new in the same industry or something. They come to you and tell you, okay, I need to change this in the platform or the solution you're offering or something. So you have to be agile in terms of accepting these changes and being able to progress with these changes and make use of them. So when we see what we mean by agility, so agility is to recognize and accept and respond to change. So we agreed that we are living in VUCA and everything is uncertain. Make use of this. The second thing is fast and continuous delivery. So if the client is asking us for the e-commerce client, for example, the e-commerce website for fashion, we can tell the client, okay, we will deliver you this website after 8 months. And the client doesn't hear from us in full 10 months, 8 months. And after we finish the whole project and we exerted a lot of effort and time in it, and we present it to the client, we find that the client is saying, no, you're not using the right branding elements for us. You're not adding the features we requested you to add. The feature is not working as we planned for it to work. And then we start debating. You didn't tell us that you need the feature to work in this way. Okay, but I told you 1, 2, 3, and you should expect, or you should understand from what I said, that the functionality of the feature will be like this. And we start debating because we exerted a lot of effort, and now the client is asking us to repeat or rework all of this. And this will require further effort and further work from the team, while we are having other projects we need to attend for. On the contrary, if you're involving the client with you during the whole journey, and after you build each piece or each feature or each part of the system or the website, you present this to the client and make sure their acceptance criteria are met. So now you're working in agile mentality or working in agile delivery. So agile is fast and continuous value delivery to the client. And this way, you're helping the client gets money and doesn't wait till the end of the 8 months. If you said to the client, okay, we will deliver the website by the end of the 8 months. During this whole period, the client is not generating any money. The client is not getting any value. On the contrary, if you are delivering pieces of the website, like we mentioned, the landing page, a couple of static pages on the website, and then dynamic website, and then adding some features for advanced search or location, or some visuals in the website, and adding further features. So the client can generate money throughout the journey. He doesn't have to wait till the end of the delivery time for the project. And this is what we call collaboration. Collaboration external means collaborating with the client. So the team, the project team is collaborating with the client to understand their needs. all over and during the whole process. And we also have internal collaboration, because we're having the team who sold the idea or who sold the project to the client, and the team who's developing this. So we have developers and sales people, or business development team and technical development team. We have to have collaboration between these two teams. Why? Because the salesperson gets the client or the prospect or the lead and convinces this client that will make you something. This is the best technology ever, and the website will be dancing, and we will add features that you didn't expect in the whole world. Because the salesman, this is one of their KPIs. He needed to make sales to get his or her commission. So sometimes they exaggerate or tell the client something that the development team is not able to do. So there has to be collaboration between the external team or the sales team and the development team, so that the sales team understands the functionality the development team can work on, and also the development team can understand the promises that this team, the sales team or business development team, made to the client. So they make knowledge exchange between each other to make sure that the delivery is going in the best possible way without any distractions or without any fights with the client. Another last point here is respect. This means that agility is having respect while waterfall is not having respect. We're fighting together all the time. We're shouting at each other. No. Agility promotes psychological safety, and I'm sure you have heard about psychological safety a lot in Vodafone, in different ceremonies or in different events, because we're talking about psychological safety, which means you are safe to express your opinion. You are feeling safe to express your ideas, your new ideas, your new approaches. If you think there is some room for improvement, you can discuss this with the manager or with the team, that you propose another approach or something. So respect here means fail fast, accept failure. It's okay to try new things. If there is a new approach or a new technology, go ahead and use it. If the team is proposing another way of working, you can follow this way of working. So agility means flexibility. So we're flexible to accept new ideas. We're flexible to enhance our work. So this is something that agility is emphasizing a lot. Be able or be open to accept new ideas and respect new ideas. This is a blameless environment. We do not blame others if they came up with new ideas and these ideas didn't work out. So this is the pillars of the agile mindset. And this agile mindset, as this figure shows, this is the mindset. Starts by 4 values, and these 4 values we stretch them a little and we make them 12 principles. And based on these 12 principles, we have practices or frameworks. What do I mean by this? The mindset we discussed now, accepting change and fast and continuous delivery, collaboration between the team and the client and between the team and each other, and respecting new approaches. This is the mindset. But this mindset was there in starting from 1950s, in the 50s of the last century. So it was unspoken. It was something that we agree on, but we don't have it written. So in 2001 and in 2001 we started by something called Agile Manifesto. Manifesto or announcement or major public hearing or something. So this is manifesto to announce something big. We translated these agile mindset values into 4 main values. And these 4 values, they got out of them 12 principles. So these 12 principles are built on these values. This 12 principles and 4 values, these two make the Agile Manifesto. And based on this Agile Manifesto, different organizations and different institutes make practices. So we have SAFE, Scaled Agile Framework for Enterprises. This is an entity or an organization that made a practice or a framework people follow to be embracing the Agile mindset. But this is a framework. You have ceremonies, you have definition for some meetings, some events, some documents, some activities you need to take to be following this practice, which is embracing the Agile mindset. Another organization like Scrum.org or Scrum Alliance, they came up with Scrum framework. Another team came up with the Kanban framework. Another team came with Disciplined Agile. This is from PMI, Project Management Institute, and so on. So these are different practices or frameworks based on the Agile Manifesto, which consists of 12 principles and 4 values. Because some people make some misunderstanding about the practices and the Agile mindset we were discussing. So these practices, they are similar somehow. If you, for example, took the Safe Agilist certification, or you take Project Management Institute Agile Certified Practitioner certificate, you will find big similarities between them. They are overlapping in a lot of stuff. However, each of them sees this agility implementation in a different perspective. So this is clear for you what we're going forward with. We finished the Agile mindset part. Now we will be discussing the Agile values and Agile principles. If you can catch up with me on this, or you can follow the sequence I'm making here, please give me thumbs up.
Excuse me, Muhammad, you mentioned the last framework from the PMI. Would you repeat it again?
It is called Disciplined Agile.
Disciplined as Agile.
Yeah,
Disciplined.
discipline.
Well, this-
Yes.
Okay.
And
Okay,
they have
thank you.
certifications in
Okay.
it. Daniel is following up and following this. Hassan also. How about the rest? Are you keeping up with the flow now? Yes. Thank you, Basma, Andrea.
Yes, that's okay.
Okay, perfect. Just wanted to make sure that we're all aligned on how the presentation is going. Okay, so the next item is that we will talk about the Agile Manifesto. As I mentioned, the Agile mindset and these Agile ideas or these Agile practices, it was there since 1950s. It started in Japan, in Toyota manufacturer or Toyota factory for cars. So it was in the manufacturing industry. It didn't start in the software industry, while Agile is now labeled as this is for people who are working in software engineering only or software projects only. But we can't apply agility in marketing agencies and consulting agencies. We don't apply agility in construction field. No, we apply agility in everywhere. All clients or accounts or fields or industries can make use of agility. It started in manufacturing. It started in factories. It didn't start in software agencies only. So before 2001, there were the Kanban framework, adaptive software development. This is one of the frameworks or the practices also, Crystal Clear and Scrum. So Scrum wasn't the first, but now it's the most popular or the most adopted framework. It is used in more than 80% of the companies that are saying they are following the Agile mindset. So these are different practices. If you check all of them, you will find they are overlapping in most of the stuff. So this is, for example, feature-driven development, and we have testing-driven development, and we have extreme programming. Extreme programming promotes, for example, dual or pair work. So each feature, it should have two developers working on it. So if one of them is not present for any reason, the other one can cover. Okay, we can have this also in Scrum. In Scrum teams, we call them Scrum squads, and they are generalists. They are not specialists, so they know every one thing about everything. So if someone of them is not there for any leave or paternity or maternity or traveling or any annual leaves, the others can cover for them. So this is Scrum promotes the generalist mentality. Extreme programming promotes pair programming and stuff like this. So feature driven and test driven. We put the test cases first and then we make the development instead of creating the feature and then test it, and we find that it is not meeting the acceptance criteria or the definition of done and stuff like this. So all of them at the end were promoting some common ideas. These ideas are lightweight documentation, for example. So lightweight documentation here means that in waterfall, we have a lot of documents. We have scope management plan, schedule management plan, cost management plan, risk register, stakeholders register, lessons learned register, a lot of documents we start with when we kick off the project. In agility, we don't have all of these documents. We start with planning for the work we will be doing during the next month only. Sometimes we focus only on 2 weeks, not the full month. So this is lightweight documentation. We document or we work on the very next actions. We have a generic plan or general plan for the whole project that will be spanning the whole year. But to make comprehensive documentation for only the next actions or the next iteration or the next sprint. This doesn't mean that agility doesn't have documentation. We have to document what we're going to do next, and after we finish it, we document it because if we needed to fix anything or change anything in it, we get back to the documentation to help us with this. But we make just enough documentation. So this is the lightweight documentation that all of these practices or frameworks we're promoting. The second item is close collaboration between the development and business teams. That's what we were discussing a while ago. So we have the sales people and the development team. They have to be following up with each other. Sales people tell the development team what they agreed upon with the client, and the development team teaches the sales team what to pitch or what to sell to the new clients and to agree with each other on the presentation they will be developing. The second thing is people-oriented practices, like we discussed, the respect environment or the psychological safety in the workplace, and we have frequent delivery. So we don't wait for the client or we don't make the client wait a lot for us to deliver something. We try to deliver very frequent and to show the client the progress, not only to show them the progress, but also to get them feedback, to get feedback from them to enhance our ways of working, to enhance our production, to enhance our outputs. So these are the main items that the Agile Manifesto started with. We'll take 10 minutes break before we delve in the Agile Manifesto and explore its 4 values and 12 principles and explain each one of them. So it's now 10:51. Let's come back after 9 minutes and start sharp at 11. See you in 9 minutes.
Okay.
Knock knock. We're back. Who's still here? Danielle's here. Thank you. Who else? Basma, Andrea. Yes. Perfect. Elena. Yeah. Okay. I guess all of you are around now, so we can proceed. So we stopped at the things that are shared between these practices or frameworks. Let's start with the manifesto itself. Manifesto shared with us 4 values. These values are coming in a form that the full statement says we value X over Y. This doesn't mean that we don't value Y, but we give more weight to X. So the points that are in the red rectangle, these are the ones that are getting more weight or they are more valued. However, we do not dismiss the second thing that is in the gray box. We value both, but we give more credit to the things that are in the red rectangle. So the first value is that we value individuals and interactions over processes and tools. No matter what the tool is and what the process or the website, if you are using Jira, Confluence, Azure DevOps, using AWS, whatever tool you're having, what we care for is the psychological safety, the individuals and interactions. We care about how people deal with each other. We care about the team dynamics. Whatever that makes the productivity of the whole team better, we will support this and we will push it forward. It doesn't matter what tools or processes you can be using for this. So this is the first value. The second value is that we value working software over comprehensive documentation. It doesn't mean anything for me if you shared with me a big deck or a big book for all the plans you are having for this solution or this platform or whatever device you're building, as long as it is not working. So I want to see it working. I want to see it functioning. I want to see it generating money for the client. Now we can talk. So this is what we value most, the working software. This doesn't mean we don't value documentation, but we make just enough documentation. The third value is customer collaboration. We need to collaborate with the customer to understand their needs, to understand their industry, to make sure we're getting what they ask for, we're getting it right, to make sure we're building what will make them competitive in the field. So they are coming to us, for example, coming to Voice or the phone business for a solution or a system that makes them more competitive or to make them take more market share than their competition. So we need to collaborate with them on this. We can see this photo to express how our team is seeing the solution and how the users or the clients are seeing the solutions. So your team and the project team and everyone who's working on the project, they feel, oh, we did something great because they are techies. They think, oh, we built a technological software that no one has. Okay, but also no one understands and no one can benefit from it. So you have to put yourself in the client's shoes. You have to empathize with the client. You have to understand where they are coming from. You have to understand their needs. And this is the first or the most important motive for you, customer satisfaction. And this will be the first principle we will discuss in a little. So the last value we have is responding to change over following a plan. This resonates with the previous value, which is negotiating a contract. We don't think much of negotiating a contract as much we think of customer collaboration. There are changes all the time. new regulations in the market that made the client wants to change something, new competitors who join the same field or who join the same industry, who are pushing the client to work on something or to change their strategy, to extend the project or to shrink the project. You have to respond to change all the time. So these were the 4 main values for the Agile Manifesto. We try to stretch these values, or we try to extend them a little and make them more explicit, more understandable, more explained. So we have these 12 principles for the Agile Manifesto. The first one is customer satisfaction. We think of the customers as the most important people in the world. We think that you have to satisfy the customer more than how much you satisfy your parents. So the customer is the most important one in the whole process. So the full statement of the principle is here is that this is the highest priority for the whole project team, because the more we satisfy the customer, the more money or income that can be generated from this customer. The more engagement we have with the client means more understanding of what they need, means better success of the project. So always seek feedback from the client. And here comes the fail fast concept, which we discussed earlier. Fail fast because you satisfy the customer, you discuss with the customer, so you exclude some misconceptions you had about the solution, or you had about the thing that you are delivering to this client. So this is failing fast because we are satisfying the customer. Again, what is the value in failing fast? This graph can show this. By time, the cost of changes are bigger. So you have to make sure you're building the right thing from the beginning, or at least if you couldn't understand this from the beginning, by time you decrease uncertainty so that you are sure you are building the right thing. So to decrease these risks and this uncertainty, you have to discuss more with the client. You have to understand their needs. You have to make sure you are aware of the different variables in this industry or in this business or in this field. So by time, try to decrease uncertainty because the cost of changes will be higher. For example, if you are building a villa for your client, you are a construction engineer and you're building a villa. If you showed the client the drawings of this villa before you make it, so the architecture drawings before you actually build it, the client can tell you, okay, make another floor, make the windows in this way, make the doors in this way. So it is easier to change on drawings. But imagine that you didn't show them the drawings and you start building, and then they come, oh, this is not what I wanted. I wanted better windows. I wanted higher ceilings. I wanted bigger doors. I wanted a piscine or swimming pool, and you didn't include this in the drawings. The cost will be big to change this. But if you kept engaging the client from day one, you would have avoided all of this. So this is what we mean by failing fast and by customer satisfaction and engagement from early on in the project. And while we are engaging the customer to reach their customer satisfaction, we have the second principle is welcome change. The client change their mind a lot. The clients maybe they sat with a friend, or they sit with some family members and they talk about the business, and then this family member suggests something new for the project you're working on. Okay, this is the client and he's the one who's paying us our salaries at the end of the month. So we have to accept and welcome changes all the time, because these changes are for the customer's competitive advantage. So we are here to support the customer. So try to build your work on flexibility. if you remember or if you have read the book 7 Habits for the Most Effective People, and in this book they were talking, Stephen Covey, the writer of the book, was talking about start with the end in mind. Before you start any activity, before you take any decision, think of what this decision will make you reach. In agility, we call it start with the change in mind, because this is something built in the process. There are changes all the time. So start with the change in mind. How come to start with the change in mind? To be aware of the client requests or the client requirements that they change. To be aware that the circumstances change. To be aware that if there is some wars in the world between Russia and Ukraine, for example, it is affecting the whole world and the whole supply chain for the whole world. While it is in a separate continent, not just a separate country, it's in a far away place of us, but it is affecting everyone in the whole world. So start with the change in mind, because at any time some diplomatics some diplomacy changes, some import and export policies change. All of this affects the project. So how can I be prepared for this? I can be prepared by documenting what I finished. So after we finish any pieces of development or pieces of code, we document this to understand how this code is operating. So if we needed to edit it at any time in the future, we can edit it easily because we have the documentation of this code. For example, if we're building some licenses or building some technical solutions, we are ready to scale up or scale down. So we can upgrade our servers, we can upgrade our license, we can downgrade our subscription, because change happens. So even if this change came late in development, we have to accept it, because the market is very dynamic and we're here to support our customers. The third principle here is frequent delivery, and we already talked about this. Frequent delivery means customer satisfaction, which is reflected through more feedback and delivering value to our clients. So this is the frequent delivery, and we try to make this frequent delivery as early as possible. So if we can make it in a couple of weeks, this is good. This is better than 3 weeks. This is better than 6 weeks, or maximum 8 weeks. Because more than 8 weeks, this is a lot. This is 2 months, and this is a lot of time, and we're losing value, or we're losing the customer engagement with us, and we're losing feedback from the customer all the time. Moving forward with another principle, which is sustainable pace. This is related to the frequent delivery, because if we are delivering frequently, please make it a sustainable pace, or try to make it a fixed pace. So if you deliver every 2 weeks, make this sustainable. If you deliver every 3 weeks, make this sustainable. So an iteration finishes in 1 week and another iteration finishes in 3 weeks. This doesn't make sustainability. Why are we caring about sustainability? I finished in 1 week. This is good. Let's submit it. Okay, this is good, but sustainability and having a consistency and a rhythm, this is better in many aspects. First is the work-life balance of your team. They know when they need to dedicate more hours, and they know when it is easier now and it is a low season, because before the end of the sprint, we have to dedicate more time. So work-life balance is very important for you and your team, for their psychological safety. And the client expectations, to set the right expectations for the client, because if you delivered good value in a week, and then in the next iteration you're telling the client, we will deliver this value or this increment in 3 weeks. Why? You already delivered me something good in 1 week. So the client will think that your quality is decreasing, your team is not available. They will think badly about you because you didn't meet the previous benchmark or the previous reference you made for yourself. So keep it fixed that you deliver every 2 weeks, for example, not 1 week, not 3 weeks. Because if you delivered in 1 week and then the next iteration you want to deliver in 3 weeks, this would be a hard time for you with the client and the team and different aspects for the project. So this is a constant pace for your project. And to make this sustainable pace and frequent delivery, we have to make very close collaboration between the team members. Let's see this video together to explain why this collaboration is mandatory and we need it so much. So let's see. This is what happens when there is no collaboration between the team members, between the different people inside and outside of the company, between the sales people and the development team. So each one is in a separate silo, in a separate island. So this is why we need collaboration. You know what? There is new titles in the hierarchy of the companies to accommodate this. So we have sales people and we have development people. You will find some people holding a title called pre-sales specialist or pre-sales consultant or pre-sales engineer. So this is between the sales team and the development team. The pre-sales engineer here is someone who's coming from the technical background from the development team, but also he can speak business. He can sit in sales meetings. He can make deals with the clients. So this pre-sales person joins the meetings with the salespeople, because if the salespeople try to say anything to the client and they fly with their minds in the faraway space, so this pre-sales person tells them, no, we cannot do this. This is not feasible in technology. This is not applicable and stuff like this. So we created a new role or a new title to accommodate this in some teams or in some corporates in the whole world, not in a specific area. So this is pre-sales team or pre-sales specialists to make sure that they will understand the business. The team, the business team will understand the development abilities, and the development team will understand what the promises that were made to the clients. So this is very important to have this collaboration between the team. And after we promote this collaboration, we need also to promote team trust and motivation, because the industry we're working at now, telecommunication or engineering or IT or software, all of these technical stuff, they are evolving all the time. They have new changes. Now we're talking about artificial intelligence, Internet of Things, cloud computing, 3D printing, a lot of stuff going on. So we need to be aware of the different terminologies in this field. We need to be aware of the different capabilities of the team and give them the space to innovate, because this is called the knowledge work business or the creative industry. Creative industry is not limited to graphic designers and motion graphics and video graphics and stuff like this, creative industry artists. But creative industry also includes developers, because they are creative. They create something from scratch. So this is called creative industry. If I give you the same brief for a certain task, for example, this is the brief in a paper, and I make 2 copies of this piece of paper and share it with 2 developers to create a certain function or a certain feature to work on this task. Each one of them will deliver the same functionality, but in a different way, in a different number of code lines, in a different functions or features they built in their code. If I did the same with a brief for a design and shared it with 2 designers, each one of them will come up with a separate or a different design. So this is creative industry. Okay, why do we care about this? Because in this creative industry and this creative environment, we need to empower the team, to embrace their trials, to give them space to try new stuff, to explore new technologies, to suggest new process improvement ideas. Because this is what we call servant leadership. Servant leadership, I'm a leader, I serve my team. I'm a leader, I facilitate their work. I'm a leader, I try to make them work in harmony. I'm a leader, I try to manage the team meetings in a way that doesn't have any blame, doesn't have any um, laughing at each other's jokes or laughing at each other's ideas, any domination from some team members over the new team members, for example. So this is servant leadership because the team is self-organized. They are creative. They can lead themselves. I have just to facilitate their work instead of micromanagement and being. I be around. I stay around them all the time and I direct them for what to do and what not to do. No, I give them the freedom to express their ideas, to take risks without feeling insecure about the project. This is totally different from being um, being afraid from blame. So Seth Godin, this is the godfather of the new marketing or the so the old marketing was had the godfather Flip Kotler, and the new marketing has this godfather Seth Godin. He's saying that people are not afraid of failure; they are afraid of blame. So try to make your team having a blameless environment and a psychologically safe team. This is totally different or the total opposite of micromanagement, because micromanagement is like this photo. If powers are restricted, skills are useless. There are skills in this scissors, but they are useless because they are restricted. So this is like this manager who's sitting at the back of their employees to direct them do this and don't do this. So now you are limiting your team. Now you're making them useless. You're making them don't use any abilities they have. You're wasting a lot. So don't be a micromanager and be a servant leader and help your team innovate and give them motivation and trust because they are self-organized teams. What we mean by self-organized teams is that they are self-motivated. They know what to do. They don't need someone to direct them, do this and don't do that. So self-organizing teams make the best architectures, the best requirements, and the best designs because you're giving them the ability to work on their tasks. You're giving them the freedom to work on the activities required from them. So this is a self-organized team, and this is what the Agile team is promoting, or the Agile methodologies are promoting. And to give them extra freedom and to give them extra psychological safety, there are regular reflections in the team. After each iteration or each increment or each sprint, we sit together and reflect on what happened, what went well, what didn't go well, and how we fix this and how we make this better in the next iterations or in the next sprints. So lessons learned are used within the same project. If you remember, we talked about documentation in the previous sessions. So documentation used to happen at the end of the project. So we didn't make use of this documentation or lessons learned in the same project. We will use them in new projects, or it will be added to the organization process assets and knowledge base for future projects. While in agility, we try to make these retrospectives every 2 weeks or every 4 weeks so that we can make use of these ideas and these process improvement initiatives in the same project we're having. Moving forward to the next principle, which is face-to-face interaction. By the way, I'm not showing you the principles in order. As you can see, I'm leaving some gaps here and there. So I try my own order because they are ordering them from 1 to 12. I don't see this is a good order, so I order them by the relevance between each principle and the previous one. So that's why you can see some gaps here. After regular reflections, Agile promotes face-to-face interaction. Doesn't have to be offline and on-premises meetings. I'm one of the people who are promoting remote work. I don't like going to the office at all. Sometimes I have to go there just because of the manager, but I don't like going there. But this is not against agility. I'm agile and I claim I'm agile, and this is okay. It doesn't have to be offline. We can meet online. In most of my meetings, I try to open my camera so that we can communicate better. You can see me, you can see my facial expressions, my body gestures, my body language, and all of this helps in communication and removes misunderstanding. So agility is not against remote work, but it tries to uh, tell people to open their cameras and speak up to each other. And if we can't meet and have some conversations around the food area or the cooler or the microwave or something, we can meet online. We can have virtual coffee roulette or virtual catch up for the meeting, non-business related items. So this is one of the things that agility promotes is face-to-face interaction, and we call it osmotic communication. Osmotic communication while we are in the same office. So two team members are talking about a challenge or a risk they will be facing in this project, and I'm sitting at my desk, but I hear them. I didn't eardrop to listen to what they were saying, but it came because we are sitting in the same place. So this is called osmotic communication or unintended communication. I didn't intend to be in this conversation, but I hear them. So I can benefit from this because I learned about this in an indirect way. Or I can benefit them because I have some experience in this, so I can join this conversation and tell them, okay, we faced this challenge before and we dealt with it in 1, 2, 3. So this is osmotic communication. It helps when we are sitting together in the same place, what we call co-location. However, this doesn't have to be in offline meetings only. We're working, all of us here are working with Vodafone UK or Vodafone Germany or Vodafone Italy, and this is remote, and we're making great success, and the company is winning or making a lot of money in this way. So this is not something hindering the company from being a leading telecom operator. So this is one of the disclaimers I needed to highlight here. The next principle is working software. This now is coming to emphasize on the previous value we talked about, is that working software, we value this over comprehensive documentation. And now we're saying working software is the primary measure of progress. I don't care about documentation as much as the working software, because working software generates money. Comprehensive documentation doesn't generate any money. It even uses paper. It uses trees to make these papers. So I know I don't want any documentation as long as the software is not working. So documentation is good, but without working software, it is useless. And working software means that we make customer satisfaction and we get feedback and we deliver frequent delivery and all of this. The last two actions or the last two principles here are technical excellence and simplicity. We try to make the simplest code, we try to make the simplest solution to promote easier editing, because we started this by saying start with the change in mind. So if the code is complex and the solution is very complicated, it will be hard to change. It will be hard to edit. But when you make it simple, this promotes for better editing and better changes in the future. And while you're making it simple, there is something called technical debt. Have you heard about technical debt before? Technical debt like the debt. When you borrow money from the bank, you're in debt. You owe money to the bank, for example. So this is the monetary or money debt. How about technical debt? What do you think of it? Even if you didn't come across this before, what do you expect from this photo or something? So what is technical debt here? What is your first impression when you hear this word? I'm not asking for the right answer. Just share with me your initial thoughts.
Maybe the technical features that were postponed previously and we have to work on them as soon as possible, but we postponed them.
Okay, so we postponed them and now they are deprioritized and they are
Yeah.
coming to a highest priority.
Mhm.
Okay, good guess, Sebas. Thank you. Any other guesses? Anyone agrees or disagrees with Basma? Anyone has different thoughts about this? What do you think? Okay, seems we don't have other thoughts. So technical debt is not about features that were delayed, to be frank, but technical debt is this is the debt you have to pay. And the sooner you pay it, the less you pay. So because if you got some money from the bank and you are delayed to pay it, they put interest on it. So you don't just pay for the money you borrowed, but the interest also. This happens also with our technical debt. So what is technical debt? This is the technical excellence we put in the solution we're building. We make refactoring to the code. We try to make the code at its best level or at its best version, because this promotes easier changes or easier edits in the project. Technical debt also refers to not fixing the bugs and leaving these bugs or leaving this misbehaviors of the project or misbehaviors of the solution till later. And so we have a lot of bugs or a lot of things to edit for privacy concerns, for some security issues, for some misbehavior or some functions that are not working properly. We left them and we said, okay, we will work on the new features, and at the end we will be fixing all the bugs. This will fire back at us, because you built new features on wrong basis. And when you try to rework this or to revisit this, you find that some of the developers left the team. Some of the developers are not around for now. Some of the team members are not operating. So you meet a lot of problems in this case. So try to work on your technical debt as early as possible. And this technical excellence helps in that changing requirements. And to make this technical debt, this is also related to something called refactoring. To refactor, to make it in simple factors or in simple code lines, this is the best thing to do in your code and to do to your client and to do to your team. So this was the last principle in the Agile Manifesto principles, which is related to simplicity and technical excellence. Any questions about the manifesto, the values, the principles so far?
Yes, Muhammad, I think about is there any way to relate all the 12 principles to the 4 values? Any way to make it easy to remember, you know what I mean?
Okay, we can check them together, but um, if you can relate them to the values, you don't need to remember all of them. First thing, you don't need to remember all of them. But if you thought of it, so customer satisfaction, this is related to the third value, which was discussing. We value customer collaboration over contract negotiation. So this is related to customer satisfaction and welcoming change. If we talked about regular reflections and collaboration, so this is related to we value people and interactions over tools and processes. Face-to-face interaction also is related to it. So this is how you match them to the 4 values. But at the end, you don't need to memorize them by heart. So this is just
Yes.
a mindset.
Okay, I understand. Thank you.
But thank you for raising this. This is a good reflection on the topic. What else? Any other questions? Okay, so let me ask you a question then. What do you think of this? After we discussed agility and how agile is very good, does this mean that waterfall is very bad?
I don't think so,
I-
actually. I think waterfall is good to be applied, but with specific situations or with limited time projects, as it will be bad in long period of time of for some projects. For example, if we have like as you have mentioned earlier, sometimes we need like 1 year and a half to build some application. Waterfall in this situation will be awful, not just bad.
Okay, so if the time of the project is small,
Is more
we can apply
limited.
waterfall?
Yeah. I think it's
Okay,
still
good point.
applied till the moment in some companies, even at
Yeah, we
ours,
still use
with some
we still use it.
projects. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So Basma is saying that if the project time is in a limited window, we can use waterfall. Otherwise, we would go with agility. So I guess other people were speaking also. What do you think of this?
Same here. I think that there were some situations that people forced to use a waterfall upon the situation, upon the project itself, upon the customer. It differs. Me in here in Vodafone, whatever I see that new projects coming, they are trying to use Agile. But my project is waterfall, and we are working great, and the customer is happy, and we are taking a modification that the customer want. We are not leaning heavily on the documentation. It doesn't mean that we work as waterfall, but it doesn't mean that we are just doing what strictly we discussed before. No, we have changes, we have new stories. It's somehow flexible. It's somehow flexible. Yes, agile is somehow better than waterfall in some situations, but we are still using waterfall, and we're working great.
Okay, very good. So now you're mixing between the agile mindset while you are working in a waterfall methodology.
Yes. For all, our customer is our value. Even if you're working as waterfall team or working as an agile team. So when we saw that the customer is not happy with some features, or the customer that needs new features, yes, we do a new MTD, and we're trying to present a good value for our customer, or satisfy the customer as in agile as an agile projects.
Perfect. Thank you, Anor.
Welcome.
So we're having people I didn't hear their voices at all. So Yara, Madelina, Delia, Musab, if you can share your thoughts with us, this would be very good. I can see also that Madelina is in the Agile team already.
Yes, actually, sorry, I'm part of the Lean Portfolio Management and Transformation team. So the end goal of this would be to transform the entire organization into an agile practicing organization, and we're more into SAFe. So we're trying to embed that into digital and IT department for the time being. And as related to your question of whether agile versus waterfall, which is best, I think yes, it might depend on the time, but I think it also might depend on domains, because it's one thing to run a project in medical research, for example, another in software, and I think the examples can go on, but indeed there are successful agile stories coming from, I don't know, radios in the United States or vineyards and so on. So if you want to put it into practice, you can pretty much anywhere, I think.
Yeah. So I thought, since you're part of the team that is implementing Agile and promoting Agile in the whole company, you would say that waterfall is bad. But we agreed now that it is not very bad.
No,
Well,
for some situations, it might be just the right thing to do, but you need to
Yeah.
be very well discerning when choosing it, or go with hybrid. That's also a possibility.
Perfect. This is a very good option. And we'll discuss the hybrid approach also. Thank you, Madeline. Musab, go ahead.
Yes, I was going to say that like waterfall is not bad. It just fits a specific criteria, specific type of project. That's like a project that's not flexible, that we know and we decide stuff is gonna be like this, and it's following more like a strict plan that we are not having the flexibility to change in it. So I think from this perspective, waterfall should be good. But for a project that goes fast and needs a lot all over. So I think the agile method will be working better for that.
Okay, very good observation also. So let's see what the slide have for this. The next slide is answering this question, is that there is no shame in saying I'm using waterfall. This is something we need to agree on, that waterfall is predominant, waterfall is there, and it is there to stay. So we're not replacing waterfall completely. Big companies are still using waterfall. Even companies in the IT sector like ours, we're still using waterfall. However, we're trying to embed agile mindset or agile mentality in the waterfall. So it doesn't have to be fully agile, it doesn't have to be fully waterfall. So we have the hybrid approach. Hybrid approach gets the best of the both worlds. And the most important part, or the most important criteria we build our decision upon, we build the decision on which approach to use, is the scope. So if you are in any interview related to project management and they come to you with this question, how do you decide if this project will be following agile methodology or waterfall methodology? You can just reply by one word: scope. And that says that you are very comfortable or very aware of this project management field. Why? Because the scope is the most important element here. That if the scope is very clear and there are no changes and there are no further requirements that to be added to the scope, we can go with waterfall. If the scope is not fixed, if the scope is very ambiguous or very vague from the beginning, the scope includes a lot of changing requirements and new additions and things to be excluded all the time, we'll go with we'll go with agile, which is the most typical scenario in software projects. So in software, we have changing requirements all the time. People are asking for new features. Feedback from the client is changing based on the new trends or the new norms. We didn't used to have social media. We didn't used to have TikTok. We didn't used to have short attention spans. We didn't used to have on-demand everything. You can request a cab. You can request your groceries. You can request watch whatever you'd like to watch through on-demand videos. We didn't used to have this consumer behavior before. And this consumer behavior is imposing a lot of changing requirements all the time. So when you are working in the software industry, you will mostly use agility. However, in some projects in the software industry, we use waterfall. A popular example here, if you are a technology company that is producing games and you had a game on PlayStation. So this game was fully designed for PlayStation, with its character, with its plot, the weapons, the widgets, everything was created already in PlayStation. And now you want to move this game or to make it make another version from it to be working on Xbox. Now the scope is very clear. You have the story, you have the characters, you have the colors, you have the movements, you have everything. So the scope is very clear. We can go with waterfall even if this project will be for 1 year or more than 1 year. So this is a software project, but we have the scope very clear. On the contrary, if we go back in time to the point when we started developing this game from the beginning, would need to be agile. So we created a character, and this character, while we are in the gameplay or the scenes or the different actions in the game, we find that there is a missing part of the story. There is something that is not coming together in the story of the characters or the game plot. So we go back and edit something, and then we reflect this. We come up with a new character. We come up with a new weapon or a new widget. All of this. So this needs agility while we were creating the game from the very beginning. But now the game is fully created and we have everything, so we can develop it in a waterfall approach. So think of it all the time as the toolbox. Like any technician, if you got a carpenter or you got a plumber or you got a mechanic, they come with their toolbox, and based on the challenge or the issue they are facing, they get the best tool from the toolbox to fix this issue. We are technicians also. As project managers, we are technicians, and we have our toolbox, which is the agile mindset and the waterfall approach and whatever practices other than this. We get the suitable tool for the challenge we're facing. And we can make it hybrid, so the requirements gathering can happen as waterfall, and the delivery and execution and implementation of the project can be in Scrum or or Agile. And we finish something, we go to the client, we get feedback, and we edit, and we go to the client and stuff like this. And at the end, we make the closure activities and finishing the contracts and making any payments or receiving any payments. This can be in a waterfall approach. We can make it hybrid, agile, waterfall, waterfall and agile. Anyway, like this. So there is no shame in waterfall. And what is happening now, even in Vodafone or any other competitors, we don't really say we're waterfall or we're agile. So we say we're working in hybrid mode. We have the waterfall activities, but with the agile mindset. It doesn't have to be exact events or ceremonies. So what are these ceremonies and what are these activities? So when you think about agility, and I tell you there are certain activities or certain meetings you need to do. Did you come across any of these ceremonies before, or these activities or these events, attended any of them before? If yes,
You mean
share with
Scrum
me a
activities?
name. Yes.
Yes, I'm always engaged every day with my team on developing a software product. So we always engaging in all different types of Scrum ceremonies, such as the daily stand-ups, retrospectives at the end, PI plannings, iteration plannings, and backlog grooming or refinement, of course, because I have a very big part in these meetings. So this is all I had to say regarding this point.
Perfect, and this is already a lot. We'll be discussing these terminologies: sprint review, sprint plan, sprint backlog grooming. All of these items, these are usual activities we go through during our day-to-day actions while working. So this is what we will discuss next in the Scrum framework. Scrum framework is the most popular framework in agility. Even if you are taking other certificates like SAFe, for example, the company is sponsoring our SAFe trainings. You will find a lot of things that are overlapping between Scrum framework and SAFe framework, because they are at the end, they are coming from the same mindset. They are coming from agility. So I will be discussing here the Scrum framework and each ceremony in this framework, but this applies also to SAFe and applies also to Kanban, applies to extreme programming and different stuff. So frameworks and tools, like I mentioned, it is like your toolbox, and based on the context you're in, you can use the suitable framework or the suitable tool for this problem you're facing. And at any project management book, they start by the pre-phase. They are telling you customizations and tailoring are mandatory. You don't take it as is. You don't apply it. The rules are this way, so I have to follow this way. No, you are agile in adopting agility. Your agile means you try it, and then you reflect on it, and you check, did it go well? Did it go bad? How can I improve it? So being agile while adopting agility. But let's start by the word Scrum. What does the word Scrum mean? For most of us, it doesn't mean anything because we don't know this. It is just a noun. So this device is called the laptop. It doesn't have a meaning. Laptop is this device, so that's it. But for Scrum, it has a meaning. The meaning of Scrum is this group of people. This is in American football. This is a small team putting their hands on the back of each other, and they are ready to smash the other team or to clash with the other team. So this team is a Scrum, and they are clashing with the problem, or they are clashing with the requirements for this project, for example. So this is yes, Basma mentioned like in rugby. Yeah, you knew it, Basma. So yes, it is in rugby or in American football. This is the Scrum. So when we call them Scrum, because they are connected team and a very limited number of team resources. They are not a lot. So the main characteristics for Scrum, it is have self-organizing teams, and one of the main elements in Scrum is inspection and adaptation, which is retrospectives. The retrospective or the regular reflections after each sprint or after each couple of sprints, we sit together and we reflect on what happened. So let's go together through the journey of the whole Scrum delivery or Scrum sprint and how it goes. It starts with the product vision. We have a new product, we have a new request or a new client, and they come with their requirements. So this is how each project or any project starts. It starts with the idea or the request. Here comes the first role, which is the product owner. The product owner is called a Scrum role. We don't call it a job title, although some people in the company and all over the world are holding this title of product owner. But we call it a Scrum role because if you're not applying Scrum and you're, for example, applying Kanban or applying adaptive programming or something, so you don't have the same title or the same role of product owner, but you have the functionality or the job description is being done by other team members or other people with other titles. Like, for example, if you have a product manager, he can be the product owner. If you're having a business analyst, they do the same job of the product owner. So business analysts used to be called business analysts till Scrum framework prevailed and took over the world. So we changed the title of the business analysts to product owners. So what does a product owner do in the project? What do you think? What does this owner do in the project? This is the owner of the project. What do you think of it? The owner of the product.
Can I answer this one, Muhammad?
Let's give the space for other people first. If we didn't have any inputs, so the mic is yours.
I think he's the one, or he's the accountable of giving the general vision of the project at the beginning of the process to the team or to the project management team.
Okay, good guess.
Yes.
Yes, Yara,
yeah.
go ahead.
Yeah, I think the same. The one who delivers the goal of the project and communicate the needs and requirements.
Very good, Yara. Thank you. Who else? We have some people we didn't hear them today. Andrea said hi at the beginning, but we didn't hear any inputs in the questions. Also, Heba. Hi, Heba. Welcome back. Also, we have who else we didn't hear? Daniel joined us once. What do you think, guys? What does the product owner do?
Okay, I can tell the product owner is the link between the team, the Agile team itself, and the stakeholders that need the customer or the client that will use the service or the product at all. He will take the words or the what the customer wants, and he will transfer it into stories, and he will own the backlog of the Agile team. Then this backlog will allow the Agile team to know what they're gonna work on and how. So the product owner will be the link between the customer and the team.
Okay, very good, Nurhan. Thank you.
Welcome.
And let's end with Hussein. What do you think?
Okay. I think that most people said many different points about the rules of the common rules that product owners have. I am working very closely with the product owner on the project we are working on, so I have too much idea about what they are responsible for. So I can just mention very briefly that the person I'm working with is aligning the vision of the product, as you are exactly writing in this slide, with all team members, creating epics, then the user breaking down these epics into different user stories, so they can organize or prioritize different stories in different in the product backlog to prepare it for each plan in whatever iteration or sprint we start working on. Of course, they are collaborating with different stakeholders, such as users, customers, clients, to get feedback, to get what's important for them, and apply it to the product backlog. Okay, they are, of course, they are writing in detail the description of the user stories and setting the acceptance criteria. So they are setting the definition of done, and of course the definition of ready for the stories, so the whole team can work on delivery. Okay, sorry for
very comprehensive explanation. Thank you, Hassan. Heba, what do you think?
As simple as I understand, the product owner, I guess he is a member who is responsible for maximizing the value delivered by his team, and he is assuring also that this value is communicated with the customers and the stakeholders he already communicating with.
Very good. Yes, he's responsible for this. Maybe the part of maximizing the productivity of the team falls under the Scrum Master responsibility, but the rest are, yes, the responsibility of the project, the product owner. Yes, thank you.
You're welcome.
So yes, the product owner is not actually an owner. This is the conclusion of this, because the product owner is just one of our team members. Maybe it's also in a junior position, not an owner of anything, but we call this person a product owner because he or she represents the product, the owner of this project or this work package we're working on. The development team do not meet the client most of the time. The development team are in their island. They need a special treatment somehow, because there are books about how to deal with developers, by the way, because engineers have their mentality of how to deal with devices, not how to deal with people. So there are books about how to deal with them. So this development team doesn't meet the client, and they only meet this product owner. The product owner is the interface between the development team and the client. The product owner meets the client, collects the requirements. He or she doesn't only collects or gathers the requirements. They also, we call them requirements elicitation. So they investigate the requirements with the clients to understand the requirements as much as they can, because they will be transferring these requirements and answering any questions the development team will have. So they make, like in the police station when they have a victim and they keep investigating with them what happened. This is what the product owner does. They sit with the client to investigate and elicit all the requirements, and then the product owner is called the client advocate. He's like the lawyer of the client, because the team doesn't meet the client. So they meet only the product owner, who sets the definition of done, the acceptance criteria, what to do first and what to do late, because he's responsible for the product backlog. The product backlog is where we collect all features, all bugs to be fixed, all items to work on, and the product owner is responsible for prioritizing this all the time. Sure, Nurhan. So this is the role of the product owner. He's working on the product backlog. He transfers the product vision into user stories. User stories is the description of the feature. So this feature does this item, or this feature does this task or this function. Have some schematic or some syntax. As a user, I want to function because, or so that I can the rationale, or why I need this feature, or why I need this functionality in the project. So this is called user story, because we are telling the story of our user or our client. So the product owner is the one responsible for these user stories. And then when we move forward, we can see the development team and the Scrum Master. The development team set together along with the product owner and Scrum Master in something called sprint planning, where they set and see the prioritized list of the user stories or features in the product backlog, and they plan how many user stories they can take in the next sprint. They can take 5 features or 5 user stories. They can take 10. They can take 50. As much as they can take in this sustainable pace. If you remember, we said we deliver every week or every 2 weeks. So in this period of time, or in these 2 weeks, how much can we deliver? Can we deliver one user story, or can we deliver 10? So this is what they do in this sprint planning meeting. And who facilitates these meetings is the Scrum Master. He's called the master not because he's a master and they are slaves. No, this is master from mastery because he masters the Scrum framework. He understands this very, very well. He understands the Agile manifesto. He understands how the Agile mindset is moving forward with the team. So that's the reason this person is called Agile Scrum Master, because they master the Agile methodologies, or they master the Agile mindset. Moving forward, this Scrum Master helps the team as the project proceeds, and they start the sprint by having a sprint backlog. This is the prioritized list of the items they will be working on during the sprint, and this sprint takes 2 to 4 weeks while the development team is working on the sprint. And when they start the sprint, no one should interrupt them, and this is the responsibility of the Scrum Master. The Scrum Master should prevent anything that can block their work. The Scrum Master is also responsible for conflict management between the team. The Scrum Master is responsible for any dependencies or anything they need from any other teams or any functional teams. So this is the Scrum Master. His or her role is to facilitate collaboration between the team. He or she are not responsible for coordinating the team or coordinating their tasks or assigning tasks to them. They can assign the tasks to themselves. So we have a UX designer, and UI or UX designer, user interface or user experience designer. We have a tester, we have a developer, back-end developer, front-end developer, mobile app developer. So this team knows what to work on. They can self-organize themselves. They don't need a Scrum Master or a manager to tell them what to do and what not to do. And while they are working in this sprint for example, 2 weeks, they have a daily stand-up. This daily stand-up happens every day in the same place, in the same time, with the same agenda. So we try to not to think a lot about this. We have a recurring meeting or a recurring invite. So people join this invite every day at the same time. At 10 o'clock, we're joining this call. We don't send a separate invite every day. Or if we are meeting on premises, so we know which meeting room we're meeting in. We're reserving this meeting room till eternity. We're meeting in this meeting room all the time, and we're meeting there at the same time every day to discuss 3 main elements only. What did you do tomorrow? What did you do yesterday? What will you do today? And if there are any challenges or any hiccups in your way. So you answer only these 3 questions, and the meeting is between 10 and 15 minutes. It doesn't need to exceed this period, because we are answering only 3 questions. The Scrum Master is there to facilitate this meeting, or anyone else can facilitate it. It doesn't have to be Scrum Master, can be a developer, can be a designer, can be anyone from the team. But the Scrum Master is there to help on in the things that will happen after this meeting. Because if one of the team members said he or she is facing a certain challenge, so the Scrum Master needs to work on this challenge. Can tell them, okay, please wait after this meeting to discuss this. Okay, this meeting, this item needs to invite someone else to attend this discussion with us. So I will make a meeting, or I will send an invite for you and this person to meet in my presence to solve this issue. But this doesn't happen during the daily stand-up. This happens after the stand-up meeting, because the stand-up meeting is only dedicated to answering the 3 questions. What did you do yesterday? What will you do today? And if you are facing any problems blocking the work you will do today. After we finish our development, we make the deployment after we make the testing and everything. So we release this and go live with this with the client. So the solution or the update or the upgrade for the application or platform is now live. But this doesn't happen till the end of the 2 weeks. Before we do this, we make a sprint review and a sprint retrospective. A sprint review is a meeting we make with the product owner, and sometimes we invite the client to this call also. Some companies say no, the product owner is acting as the client, so the client doesn't attend this call. The product owner can make the decisions. Some companies, they say let the actual owner or the client join us in this call to review the outcome of the sprint. So in this, go ahead. Someone is asking
Yeah.
something. Yes, yeah.
Sorry, I'm just wondering about the product owner role. So it means the whole project is depending on the product owner vision, no? So if he delivers an incorrect vision or by mistake to the development team or to the whole team, so it might lead to the project failure, no?
Yeah. But
Yeah, so
we try to avoid this by having frequent meetings with the client. So the product owner meets the client and shows the client the progress of the team.
yeah, okay. So he's responsible for the results that are going to come from the development team or the whole team. No?
Yes, he's
Okay.
responsible for this.
Okay.
Because he's the mediator or he's the one in between both of them. So any error would be because of this person.
Okay, thank you.
So in the sprint review, the development team presents the features and the user stories they completed. They present this to the product owner, so that the product owner can say, yes, I accept this feature, it will go live, but this feature is missing some acceptance criteria I mentioned to you before in the product backlog. While when I wrote the user story, I wrote the definition of done or the acceptance criteria, the things that I need this function or this feature to be delivering. So you didn't meet these requirements, so I will not accept this feature. This feature will go back to the product backlog for you to work on again. So this is the sprint review meeting. It takes between 1 hour and 2 based on the length of the sprint. So if the sprint was 2 weeks, so the sprint review will be 1 hour. If the sprint was 4 weeks, the sprint review will be 2 hours, and so on. The sprint review makes the sign off for the features we finished so that we can deploy them or we can go live with them. After we finish this meeting, we have another meeting called sprint retrospective. Retrospective thinks of what happened in the past or things about what happened during the last sprint or the last couple of sprints. We discuss here the things or the ideas we can implement so that the project or the delivery of the team is increased. If there was any problem in communication, any problem in how the team was working together, we fixed this together. So this is the sprint retrospective, and this is the end of the sprint or the project, the whole project itself. Any question about the whole cycle, the different roles, the different ceremonies we discussed? Any question? If there is no question, so we can make thumbs up. Thank you, Asma, Sam, Daniel, Andrea. Thank you so much. Thank you, Yara.
Hey, Mohammed, I like this
Yes.
illustration very much, by the way. The illustration you created here summarizes all the process I tried to mention to you in previous question. A very nice one.
Thank you. Actually, I didn't create it. It's a photo I played around, but I'm not the creator of it. I just played in some parts. Yeah. Okay, so moving forward, we discussed agility and we discussed the most important framework in agility, which is called the Scrum framework. I'd like to end by another terminology you usually hear, which is the no, not this one, which is lean management. So we have here, for example, Madalena. She's her title is Lean Governance Specialist, and also we had Dali. I guess her name was this. Their name or their title is Lean Specialist or Lean Governance Specialist. What is the difference between Lean and Agile? What do you think?
First of all, lean is very averse to waste.
Yes, exactly. This is the most important thing in the definition of Lean. Anyone would like to add anything about this, Madalena or anyone? Madalena can help me answer this this question. You're the specialist here. Okay, so when we discuss the agility, we have these two terminologies: agile management and lean management. So agile management, we discussed it. We can say that agility is responding to change. Lean management, it is about removing waste. And if we try to understand the word lean, when you search for its meaning or its translation, you will find it is the clean flesh. So this is the flesh that doesn't have any fats. So we want our processes or our businesses to be clean. They don't have any fats in it. So these fats are the wastes, and we have main 7 types of wastes. Wastes, for example, in waiting. If the development team has, for example, 5 developers and they have only 1 tester, so the throughput or the output that is coming from these 5 developers comes to be tested by 1 tester only. So this 1 tester will ask one of the developers, wait till I finish the features of your friend or your colleague, and then after he finishes, he takes these features from this developer. So this developer had to wait for the tester to take these tasks. So this is a bottleneck. This is someone blocking the work. So waiting, we need to remove waiting from the process. For example, also, if we have transportation, if you are working, for example, in a factory, and you need to transport some items or some elements from one place to another, this creates waste because this needs more time, this needs more effort. This has a risk of destroying the elements you're moving between 2 places. And also we have motion, and motion also here refers not only to materials but referring to motion of the employees themselves. If the employee has a lot of space or a lot of area to cover between where they work and where they have their breaks, this is a lot of time wasted. You can get the area of the food court, for example, or the break area near them, or even not physical motion but mental motion. If the team is working on multiple tasks at the same time, this is multitasking. This is type of waste because I'm focusing now on this and now I leave it to another task and then get back to this task again. this is motion and this is a type of waste. Over processing, to work on a report, for example, or to work on some quality checks, and you over process this while this is not making extra funds or making extra money. If you made this report in colors and added icons and added emojis and added animation in this, at the end, this report will be raised to one person who doesn't care about all of these actions. So over processing, this is type of waste we need to remove from the cycle or from what we're working on. We have also for example, inventory. If you produced a lot, produced more than what the inventory can take, so now you're paying a lot for the storage. Even if you're producing something not physical, you're producing something intangible, you will need to subscribe for extra spaces or extra licenses. This is a type of waste. So we don't use more than what we need. We use just enough, and we also take into consideration the scalability of the things we're working on. So I had to mention this because lean management is related to agility and best practices in management and stuff like this. But lean is not agile, or agile is not lean. These two separate terms and two separate mentalities. Lean is focusing on quality and removing waste, while agility is focusing on changes and responding to change.
But we
After
work
all,
with the two. Sorry for interrupting you. But we work with the two mindsets or the two ways of management in parallel, right?
yes,
Mhm.
using one doesn't mean you're not using the other or excludes the other. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
So ending with being agile and doing agile.
Muhammad,
So
sorry,
yes,
sorry,
go
Muhammad.
ahead.
I have one question. How overproduction in the previous slide would be a type of?
Yeah, let me get it back. So overproduction, this is when you produce more than what the client requests. Now the client requests 5 features, and out of your kind heart, you decided to make 7 features. So you delayed the delivery of the project and you didn't make money out of this. You could have delivered the 5 features and told the client, okay, we can also make you 2 more features. But if you want them, you will pay for them because this is out of the contract or out of the deal we're having. If you wanted these 2 features, you will need extra money and extra time for delivering these 2. So being too nice or being too kind and producing more than what is requested from you, this is not something good. And we called it in project management terminology, we call it gold plating. Gold plating is showing you or giving you something that you didn't ask for. You asked it for this pen. Okay, the functionality of this pen is to write. Now I told you I will cover this pen in gold plating or gold colors. So I paid more for this and I didn't take any return from you because you will not pay for the gold plating. You didn't ask for it. I made it extra. So this is overproduction, and this makes the company loses money because we can we could have told the client to pay more for this. This is what we call upselling. Not just selling you this, I can sell you something more than this and get more money from you. So don't overproduce unless this is requested from the client. Okay, so this was the overproduction.
Thank you.
Thank you, Hassan. Last thing is doing agile and being agile. Doing agile is just going through the process and ceremonies and events I was showing you a while ago. This is just doing the agile events. You don't have to do all of these agile events to be agile. You can just understand the essence of agility, and this way you are agile even if you're not having all of these meetings, because these meetings doesn't add value to you. These meetings are wasters of your time and effort and productivity. So you remove them because you're thinking lean. So this is lean management and agile management. It doesn't have to be following the same exact ceremonies and events, and that's it. This is 20%. If you're doing agile without understanding agile, you benefit, yes, but you benefit 20% only. But being agile, you understand what you need and you work on this. This is 200% productivity and benefit. In your response to change while doing agile, you try to mitigate it or avoid it. But being agile, you embrace it and you welcome it because you think this is an added value. This is something that I can be proud of. This is something I like and I promote, and I tell my client that if you need any changes or if you have any feedback, please share it with us so that we can make you better outcomes or better features. Having this mentality of being agile is promoting happiness and promoting psychological safety and promoting the team to learn more, to learn fast and frequent and cheap. The team is learning on the go. The team is learning while doing. So this helps the team learn a lot. On the contrary, doing agile only, just doing the events without providing them with the psychological safety and support they need, this doesn't promote learning much. And that was my time with you today. Any questions?
For me, no, so far totally understood. Thank you for the session and for the previous 2 sessions. They were very, very informative, and I really became more passionate about project management because of you. You know that I have talked with you about this topic in private. So thank you so much for such great sessions.
Thank you so much. Okay.
Me too. Thank you so much, Muhammad, for the sessions. This was great. Thanks so much.
So the recording of the session will be available. The presentation will be available. I will also share with you a learning track for some resources you can learn more about project management through. And if you had any questions, I'm just a message away. You can send me on Teams at any time. And if we need to schedule a call or something, you can schedule a call. Just send me the invite and let's talk if you have any questions at any time. Thank you so much. And
thank you, Muhammad. Goodbye.
Thank you, Sam. Bye.
Bye bye.
Have a great day. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.